Welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us another week. I'm wearing the green. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Got a great show planned for you this week. Later on the show, I have a guest with me. That'll be Danny Ackerman, who is the general manager of golf operations at Oglebay. We'll be talking about this upcoming golf season and all things golf at Oglebay and maybe a little bit more about in the golf world. But first, I want to start with some of the usual features. I'm going to start off with the community champion this week. I haven't done one in a while, but saw something I thought was particularly worthy, and that was the fact that West Liberty University student Dan Monterosso, who's a member of the men's basketball team there, a member of the football team for that matter, has just recently been named the Men's Division II Basketball Academic All-American of the Year. The entire country for Division II, Academic All-American of the Year. And I thought this was quite an accomplishment. And the reason I want to recognize Dan Monterosso as the community champion is because I think this sends a great message to all the kids out there in the community that academics are important. You know, they matter. That's why you're going, is to get an education, and you could be a tremendous athlete like Dan has been. You know, he started his career at Purdue as a football player there, transferred back to West Liberty where he's played football and basketball and played at an extremely high level. Of course, being a key part of that team that's made deep runs here the last couple of years in the tournament, in the postseason. And, you know, to be named the Academic All-American of the Year for the entire country is something pretty special. So I hope kids out there really see that and realize, let's keep those grades up. I try to emphasize that to my kids all the time. Had a conversation with my 9-year-old the other day about that, that when colleges call, if you might be interested in playing someday, and if you're good enough, the first thing they're going to ask about are your grades and also what type of individual you are. That's what they're going to ask your high school coach about is, how are the grades? What type of kid is he? Well, when you have somebody like Dan Monterosso who's achieving at a high level academically, that opens up the world and it gets people saying, yeah, I want that type of kid on my team. So congratulations to him and much continued success for him moving forward. Next up, quote of the week, and I think that this is always try to pick something appropriate, and this one this week comes from St. Patrick, and he said this: Christ beside me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ within me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me. St. Patrick's Day is a holiday, and we oftentimes celebrate it by having a good time carrying on. But when it comes right down to it, it's the feast day of the saint. St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, and it is a good time. It is a celebration. But we also need to remember that he's a saint for a reason, because he brought so many things in the form of the faith to the people of that country. And he did it by considering Christ in all things that he did. And I think this quote from him really shows that and demonstrates that. And people may wonder why this, the shamrock, why do we see these things? Well, legend has it that St. Patrick used the shamrock to teach the Irish about the doctrine of the Holy Trinity, that there are three in one, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and used the shamrock, which has the three leaves, to demonstrate that to them. And that's why the shamrock is such a big part of St. Patrick's Day as well, and why we associate that with the Irish. So just a little bit there about St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day, and hopefully that quote was something that was interesting to you and something that you'll remember to keep Christ in your life in all that you do. Next up, let's talk a little bit of politics. We talked some in the last couple shows, about some of the things going on in the West Virginia legislature, but now the executive branch, something that we need to turn our attention to, both at the statewide level and the national level, and that's with the firings of cabinet members. First of all, on the national level, Rex Tillerson, out as Secretary of State of the United States, apparently learned that he was fired through a tweet that President Trump issued. Some dispute about that, maybe coming from the administration, as to how exactly Secretary of State Tillerson learned about his firing, but he says he learned about it in a tweet. And then we also have Gail Manchin, who was the Secretary of Education here in West Virginia, also fired this week by Governor Justice, not being communicated by the governor himself, but by someone else in his administration. And these things are disturbing to me for some reasons. I've had the very, very unpleasant circumstances of having to fire employees in the past. It is the single hardest thing that I have to do in my career. You try to choose very good employees. You try to give people every opportunity. It's hard to do that. I stay up at night literally when I know I'm going to have to do that, because you're talking about someone's career. You're talking about their livelihood, their family's lives. You're also talking about looking at somebody and them not knowing what's going to happen with their future. To do it in a tweet or to send someone else to do it, it just really does not sit well with me. You know, if you take that responsibility serious, if you care about others and their livelihood, you know, there is a proper way, a compassionate way, the proper way to do those types of things. And you know, there are times it may need to be done. Maybe there's reasons that those folks needed to go. That happens sometimes in the course of business or government or any other type of association. But there's a right and a wrong way to do things, and doing it through a tweet, doing it through sending someone else is not the right way to do it. Let's have some compassion. Let's really think about these types of things and you know, do it the right way. So those folks are out. It remains to be seen what will happen now. I mean, there's been a lot of turnover within the Trump administration in his little over a year in office. But that continues to be the case. You know, this is the guy, you know, who had a TV show where it told people he was fired. They were fired as part of the show. So not altogether surprising, but you know, these are also individuals in both President Trump and Governor Justice who, you know, have run businesses for a long time, have made a lot of money doing that, and they are not going to be, you know, hesitant to fire people that they don't think see it their way. And so we'll continue, I think, to see that during the course of their administrations. We need to take a break. When I come back, I'll have Danny Ackerman with me, the manager of golf operations at Ogilvy. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show.
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Recommended by the highest authorities. Danoon Lumber.
It's like a bad one's coming. Yeah. Right?
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Welcome back to the show. This is my favorite time each week when I have a guest with me, and my guest this week is the manager of golf operations at Ogilvy, Danny Ackerman. Danny, thanks for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me, Jamie.
You know, you've been at this now at Ogilvy, you know, a year or so now, and you know, you have a wide and varied background in golf, and you know, been in other parts of the country, but back home now, where you kind of, you know, you grew up and graduated from William Park High School, and you know, what brought you back?
It was a great opportunity professionally. It was a great opportunity personally. You know, obviously growing up here, growing up on the park courses, Wheeling Park, Crispin, Spidell, going to school at Wheeling Park, actually Triadelphia, and then Wheeling Park, and then also graduate of West Virginia University, playing college golf there. I've always been a mountaineer through and through. You know, I've been in the golf business nearly 30 years and enjoyed my stays at all those, but this opportunity, when I was reached out to about it, really kind of struck home and struck a chord. I'm a fortunate man that I have my mom and dad still here in Wheeling, West Virginia, and a couple sisters here, and I've been away from them for a long time. And so the professional aspect of being at a place that I grew up was a great draw, but maybe even more importantly, family and just the valley itself, and coming back to it as hopefully I can end my career in the golf business here.
It was kind of maybe a perfect storm for you. Billy Casper Golf, you know, entered into an agreement with Ogilvy, and you know, Billy Casper, a very well-known name in golf course management and running things, operations, and you know, the opportunity for them to come into Ogilvy and then get you on board as well. You know, really, I think has created a lot of excitement for golf here in the local area.
Well, we hope so. Yeah, my relationship with Billy Casper goes back to my previous facility that I was working at the Longaberg Golf Club, where the Longaberg Company hired them for a 4-year stint. Then there was 3 more years after that, but when they had the opportunity to get this management contract here at Ogilvy, a person that I worked with and for reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to come home? I think you'd be the perfect fit." And yeah, I was really excited to hear it and feel very blessed to have the opportunity.
You know, part of your background involved, spending time in golf down at Pinehurst, a name that's very familiar to some of the local folks. And we've seen U.S. Opens played at Pinehurst down at number 2, and a very big name in golf. What types of things, for being in a facility like that, are you able to then bring back to Ogilvie and here in the local area?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing is just the sheer multitude of people and experiences you have with so many experienced people in the golf business. I was fortunate to work for a man by the name of Don Pageant, past president of the PGA, was executive director of actually the Ryder Cup that was held at the Greenbrier, I believe, in 1989. So his wealth of knowledge and experience in the business, whether it be on the hotel side or whether it was in the instructional side or just in the golf operations, it's such a large place, but so many great minds are there, and the ability to learn from each and every one of them was such a great asset. Really enjoyed my 12 years there. Still have a lot of great friends there, and we look forward to going back a couple times a year to see them all.
What types of things have you brought that are new to Ogilvie, and what can people expect, as this spring and summer come about?
The biggest things we're looking to do is programming. We started the Valley Card program last year, kind of middle of the season. The Valley Card program is one that, for our people that live in the Northern Panhandle, the 3 counties in the state of Ohio that butt up against the Ohio River and the Northern Panhandle, as well as the 2, Washington and Greene in Pennsylvania, where the card is nothing. It is a way for us to communicate. We give all those people a standard discount. We are able to communicate them when we're doing something special, whether it be an event, whether it be an outing, a promotion of some sort. So it gives us the ability to communicate with them, hopefully connect with the local community and give them a discount and give them some opportunities that it's a win-win relationship, so that they feel like they're a part of the park, and also we feel like we're part of the community.
How does somebody get a card?
All they need to do is stop up to any one of our golf shops at either Crispin and or Spidell. Takes you about 2 minutes or a minute to sign up. You just need to bring your driver's license so we can verify where you're living.
No cost or anything like that?
No cost at all.
And then that'll entitle you to the discounts and the other things that you talked about?
Correct. Some of the other programming that we're putting together, and kind of started at the end of last year, was we're running an Irish Open this Saturday. So that we're going to do those things kind of month to month. We're looking to do some golf leagues, both at Crispin and the Jones course, 9 holes. We had a craft brew scramble last fall. We're going to do one this spring and one fall. We have world's largest golf outing, and it is primarily run through Billy Casper Golf. It is all the properties through Billy Casper across the country that support our military, and that'll be in August. So you'll see more and more of that as we move forward to try to get more, again, just programming things that hopefully people enjoy. They might not enjoy all of them, but they'll find maybe a 9 wine and dine that appeals to them, or they might find the craft brew, or they might find the league, or whatever it might be there.
We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking with Danny Ackerman about all things golf at Ogilvie. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Don't forget to do your homework.
All right, Mom. Trick or treat.
Here you go. Happy Halloween.
For your home, for your life, for more than 50 years, Denoon Lumber.
Welcome back to the show. I've been speaking with my guest this week, Danny Ackerman, manager of golf operations at Ogilvie. And, it's also, I've been reading a lot about, try to get youth more involved in golf. I think that's happening at the national level. It's been for some years now, but especially here locally, it sounds like that's really part of the initiative.
Without a doubt. The golf circle has been there's so many avenues for kids to go in, and I think they've kind of branched off, and golf is such a great sport for young people to get involved with. You call your own penalties on yourself, you monitor your own self, and I think it really builds the character and the integrity that we want to see in our young people.
The nice thing I've seen too, you can do it. You can continue doing it in your, later years. I mean, football, you have a certain lifespan. Basketball can't go on forever. Baseball, you run out of time to play and places to play and get too old. But golf, I see people out there in their 80s golfing still.
Exactly. Yeah, a couple initiatives we have this year is we will continue with our junior program that Shane Rice, our head golf professional, started back up a couple years ago. Shane actually, through the Tri-State PGA section, was an award winner in growing the game a couple years ago. So we're very fortunate to have him as a part of our team. He also initiated the First Tee program. And the First Tee program started for us the end of the summer and went through the fall. So we'll have both of those programs going really simultaneously this next year. We're also going to start for the first time what's called a PGA Junior League. What it is, it's kind of a different way of competition for golf. Most people kind of look at it as an individual sport, where the PGA Junior League is more about team and camaraderie. The teams, 10-person teams, they will be traveling for the most part up into the Pittsburgh area where the other teams are located. But it is an opportunity for them to compete and be a part of a group, rather than so much golf is played at the individual level. This is a little unique, and we're excited to get that started this year.
That's pretty cool. Just big news, of course, this week with team golf, with Tiger Woods and Ernie Els being, having the press conference regarding them being the captains for the President's Cup next year, and of course, big questions circulating as to whether or not Tiger will be a playing captain or not. Depending on how he does here in the next year or so, and of course, supposed to be an assistant captain at the Ryder Cup, and Tiger generating a lot of excitement again here, and a lot of TV attention and things like that because of his performance at the Valspar, and before that at the Honda, and now this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and he looks a lot like the Tiger of old, just in a little bit that I got to watch him play.
He really does. I've heard, everybody's heard this more than one time. There is the needle, or who drives the needle? He is the needle. My understanding here last week was the Valspar received a rating that hadn't been received in any other major, besides a major, in 5 years. So he really does push the needle. He's a unique person and just carries this energy that I think people just gravitate towards. So I think from a golf operator, I'm very excited to see him back in there. Obviously, Phil Mickelson winning the week before. So there's two kind of veterans, and there's so many great young players right now that I think it's a great yin to yang moving forward if Tiger can keep it going.
It's cool to see all these young players, they're in their 20s, that are so excited about playing with or against Tiger. They're now, Tiger's my age. I'm 42, and grew up. If you grew up back in the 90s or early 2000s. Tiger was the guy you were watching. Now some of these guys are competing with or against him, and I think a lot of excitement because of that. And when I look at a guy that's 42 and competing at a high level, part of the reason that I enjoy watching is he's the last guy in sports that's my age that's still competing really at that type of level. You could maybe, Tom Brady's a year or so younger than me, so you could say him, but he's still younger than me. Tiger's my age and still doing it, which I think, man, it's pretty impressive. And to see Phil Mickelson win, a couple weeks ago, as you mentioned, see those guys doing it. That's one of the things, as I said earlier, it's great about golf is that there's a longer lifespan of how long you can play, and so it'd be cool to continue to watch, as the Masters approach in early April, to see if those guys continue to have this success. But speaking of the Masters, one of the perhaps the most beautiful golf course in the country, and so much fun to watch that and see all the beautiful sights. But Ogilvy has a lot of beauty in it as well. And one of the things people may wonder is, what are the course conditions going to be like? This time of year, the spring, is it worth going out and playing? Is it too not recovered from the winter? What can people expect?
I'll tell you what, we've been open spotty on the Jones already this year with some good weather that we've had. And to be quite honest, the course conditions out there have been very good, well received by the people that have played and everything. We got a little snow here yesterday, so that kind of set us back a little bit. But by and large, they're pretty decent. I would encourage people to get out there when the temperature hits them right, to get out there and golf their ball a little bit.
People may not realize that one of the benefits to have an organization like Billy Casper there at Ogilvy is the experience in taking care of courses and the knowledge regarding that. I mean, I think it's I heard people ask, some even mentioned some big pluses in that regard.
Well, I tell you what, the Billy Casper team, not only is that we have some really fine people that were here, Nick Janovich, Tony Copa, that really do a super job with the courses, but now they have resources when questions might arise and to bounce things off of that I don't feel that they've maybe had in the past, that will benefit us moving forward. I will say that we benefited last year from a great weather year as far as growing grass. I think everybody saw that in their yards, how much longer you had to mow last year than maybe in previous years. But we'll take those years when we get them and be happy with them. But the Billy Casper team I think will help the courses moving forward, but we do have an excellent team, and Nick and Tony up there too.
I haven't gotten my clubs out of my garage, I think, in 3 or 4 years now. Just a lot of activities with my kids, and had knee surgery last year. So, but I'm excited about it to the point where my law firm has agreed to now become the sponsor of one of the, what I understand is perhaps the longest running tournament in the history in West Virginia, and in terms of amateur tournaments, and now be the Bordas and Bordas Amateur Classic, which once upon a time was the Bernhardts, people may remember, and then Cal Cruz took over, and Cal Cruz moving up to the Spidell courses. But we're really excited about having this tournament at Crispin.
Well, I know the men's golf club, and I speak for the Ogilvy Golf. We're really excited for your part in that. That is an event that's very near and dear to my heart. My father probably played in it, probably 55 years. I was fortunate to play with him in a couple of those that we came out on top in the best ball end when it was the Bernhardts. But that's where I really learned to play competitive golf, was at Crispin with my dad, with his friends. So to be back here, those type of memories really run very deep with me, and it was one of the reasons for coming home.
That's pretty great to be able to win an event like that, and especially to do it with your dad.
Yeah.
The only type of golf competition I could have a chance at is probably the putt-putt course up there at Ogilvy. But I do enjoy watching it, and I'm excited to be part of it as a sponsor. So
We're excited.
Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to be on the show today. It's good to have you back here in Wheeling, and good luck with all the golf up there at Ogilvy.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
All right. We need to take a break. When we come back, I'll continue talking more sports. Stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show.
Methods of fighting have changed through the years, but we still fight to win. Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Bob Huggins. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Mountaineers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Welcome back to the show. It's time to talk more sports, and let's start off with the NCAA tournament. It's March, and it's March Madness, and always a very, very exciting tournament. I think maybe the most exciting thing in all of sports. I'm a football guy more than I am a basketball guy. Spent a lot of years playing and coaching football, but I love the NCAA men's basketball tournament because you lose, you're out. It's so many games, packed into those first days. Then it's that road where you've got to win 6 games to win it all against high quality competition, and I just think one of the most exciting things in sports. And this year I don't think will be any different. A lot of parity in college basketball, college sports in general, that gives a lot of teams a chance, and I think that'll be true again this year. But I think there will be 2 number 1 seeds that will make it to the Final Four. I think Virginia will make it out of the South. I think Kansas will get there out of the Midwest. Looking at Kansas, watching them play West Virginia in the Big 12 Conference Championship game. I mean, they just couldn't miss. I mean, you're talking about, you see a team that's shooting at a clip of 70% or something like that. Very, very tough to beat, and they were missing one of the best players, maybe the best player on their squad. So really a lot of talent there in Kansas. And I think they're going to get there. And Virginia's been solid all year. Of course, the Mountaineers had a great win against Virginia early on in the season back in December. But I think those two teams get there. I think coming out of the West, North Carolina, the ACC is a tough play all year long. You're talking about North Carolina being in there with the likes of Virginia and Duke and that quality competition all year. And I just feel like looking at the brackets, that North Carolina has an excellent opportunity to come out of the West. Xavier's had a great year. They're the 1 seed in the West, but I just don't know that they play quite the same schedule and have quite the same experience and pedigree perhaps that North Carolina have. So I like Carolina coming out of there. And then out of the East, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with the homer pick. I'm going to say the Mountaineers come out of the East. I've been talking all year about the Mountaineers and saying, they've got all the makings, all the ingredients that you need. They've got the veteran guard play, with, you've got Javon Carter, the 2-time Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. You've got Dax Miles, who's really been shooting the ball really well here down the stretch of this season. Not like he was earlier in the year. And when you're shooting it at a high rate like he is, it opens up a lot of opportunities for other guys on the team to be able to go down low, kick it back out to him for an open look. Teams can't focus on Carter as much. And then you've also got the nation's third leading shot blocker in the country and Kanate down inside, and you've got some length with your other players. Guys like West that have some length to them, and the Mountaineers have some depth to them where they can run guys in and out. With guys like Beetle Bolin and Allen and some of those folks. So I think that they have all the ingredients. The foul shooting's been better than it's been in recent years. A veteran coach. I just don't know though if they can hold on to those leads. We've seen them give up leads time and time again, but I think that the tournament's a little bit different. You're dialed in a little bit more, you're focused. I think that experience is going to serve them well. I was almost kind of thinking maybe it was a good thing if they did win the Big 12 Conference Championship game, because it's having to win a lot of games in a row. So I think the Mountaineers get there. I think they're going to do it, and they're going to come out of the East and make it to the Final Four. So let's go Mountaineers. Let's see how they do. And speaking of WVU, the spring football game is not too far away. That'll be April 7th. Be a big year for the Mountaineers. So we'll keep an eye on that and talk a little bit more about that as it comes. But with Will Greer returning at quarterback, guys like Sills at receiver, shaping up where it could be offensive fireworks for the Mountaineers, and this may be the year to do it. Some of the Oklahomas and others of the world may be a little bit down losing Baker Mayfield, so we'll keep an eye on that and talk more as the spring game approaches and as the season approaches. That's all the time we have this week. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you again next week on the Jamie Bordas Show.